Welcome back, guys. We last focused on our introduction in our previous video. Today we're going to focus on our two body paragraphs. So we'll end up writing 3 body paragraphs. Our last one will be a counterclaim. So we're going to focus on 2 body paragraphs that are going to support your claim. So remember, for me, my claim is that senior citizens should have to retake the in-car driving test in order to renew their license. Your essay, again, is focused on whether or not people in life or death situations should be held accountable for their actions. Again, I just want to be clear, I'm writing a different outline than you're going to be writing. Okay? So in body paragraph 1, what we need to do is follow the TICA process, T meaning topic and transition. Okay, so I need to, I need to start this paragraph with a transition phrase. Okay, so I've got some notes here that I'm going to refer to. So when we transition, we want to make sure that we're letting our reader know that we're moving on to a new topic within our claim. So I'm going to say, and you'll notice that in this one, I'm going to write sentences more than I'm going to write just ideas, because it's going to be easier to translate these larger paragraphs with our outline if we have some sentences. So you'll see that there's a few more sentences typed on this one. So I'm going to say, as we age, that's going to be my transition. I'm moving my reader from my thesis into one of my ideas here. So as we age, our senses start to deteriorate and our reflexes slow. So what you might be thinking is, that sounds familiar. That should sound familiar because our transition and our topic should be following our thesis. So again, right here it said your topic should be the first reason from your thesis. So if we go back and we look at my thesis says because of their slower reflexes and deteriorating senses. So that's the first reason that I gave as to why I think senior citizens should have to retake that test. So I'm just reusing my thesis throughout my essay. Okay, so there's my topic sentence. I've got my topic from my thesis, and I have my transition. Now I need to introduce a quote. So when I introduce a quote, I can be giving a little bit of background information, but I want to make sure that I'm citing where I'm getting my information from. So I'm going to go on and say, in a December 14th article from, now I'm going to say where I got this, Harvard Health Publishing. Get rid of that so it makes sense. All right, so in a December 14th article from Harvard Health Publishing, comma, it says, okay, now that's my introduction. I'm telling you where I'm getting my information from. For me, I had to go online and I had to look up some information. For you, you have evidence already supplied for you in your evidence log if you've been filling that out. Okay, hopefully you have. That's going to make your life a lot easier. So now I have my introduction, and now I need to come down here to my quote. My quote is my evidence. Please realize that when you're quoting an article or a story, it doesn't have to be something that a character is saying. Okay, so don't think when we say quote that it has to be someone speaking. It's any bit of text that you can pull from that piece of literature or from that nonfiction article to support what you're saying. So this is our evidence. So now our evidence is always going to go in quotation marks. I'm going to go ahead and type my evidence. So it says visual acuity or sharpness of focus tends to get worse with age. I'm going to also add cataracts and macular degeneration cause impaired vision. Okay. So this quote that I have is just something that I pulled directly from an article that I found online from Harvard Health Publishing. So one, I'm using a source that is credible. It's from Harvard University, from their medical college. And then I'm telling my reader where I got that information before I type in my actual information. Now the A, if you think back to our TICA video, the A is analyze. Analyze means to break apart. So we're going to look at that quote. We're going to talk about how that quote, when we look at it as its little piece, kind of relates to our overall vision, or our overall vision, because I'm talking about people not being able to see, but our overall thoughts about our essay, about our topic. So I'm going to use another transition here. Okay, I want to make sure my reader knows that now I'm talking about that quote. So I'm going to say, in other words, a comma, and now I'm going to explain what that quote means. Okay, so I'm going to say, in other words, as we age, our vision gets worse. And I'm going to relate it back to my thesis, back to my topic and my claim. This makes driving more difficult and dangerous to ourselves and others on the road. Now, this paragraph took a little bit longer. This paragraph has sentences in it, but if you look at this outline, all we need to do now to make this an actual paragraph in our essay is combine what we have here. Maybe I'm going to throw a little bit more information after my topic sentence, but apart from an extra sentence, this is done. This paragraph is written. Okay, so your outline has already written that paragraph for you. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to type out my second body paragraph. So this is going to follow my thesis again. I'm going to use reason 2 of my thesis. And then I'm just going to go through this process also. So follow along here. This will help you write yours as well. Okay, so I'm going to continue on with my second body paragraph. And I'm going to say, if a senior citizen ignores their impairments, that's relating back to what I've already said in that first body paragraph, it could lead to an accident and injury. So I've then moved on. I started talking about injuries, okay, which is going to lead into my second reason of my thesis. But I've also transitioned. I've talked about the fact that if they ignore their impairments, which is what we talked about in that first paragraph, and now we're going to move on. That lets my reader know that we're going to keep talking about impairments, but we're going to move on to a different topic. So if a senior citizen ignores their impairments, it could lead to an accident, excuse me, or injury. And then I say, it's no secret that elderly people take longer to recover from injuries. So if your grandma or grandpa gets injured, it might take them a little bit longer to heal from that. And that's what I'm talking about here in this paragraph. So I've got my topic, I've got my transition. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to include some information about my quote, where it's coming from. I'm going to introduce that. So I'm going to say, according to, it's the easiest way to introduce your quote, according to, and then tell me where it's coming from. So according to an article published by Caring Senior Services, that's the title of the publication. And now I'm going to go into my quote. So I'm going to come down here to my cue for my quote, always quotation marks, and I'm going to say recovery. This is coming directly from that text. After injury is far more complicated for the elderly than for younger adults. I'm going to add to that. It's important to know that even the simplest falls can lead to severe injuries for elderly people. And again, make sure I have my end quotes on there. And now the last thing I have to do is analyze my quote. So I have to break it down, say how it relates back to that whole picture that I have for my essay. Now, I'm running out of space here, so I'm just going to go ahead and actually, I'm just going to bring my A over to the other side since I've got some space here. Remember that this is your notebook. If you need to add to it, you're more than welcome to do so. So I've moved my A now over to the other side of my notebook, and I'm going to type in my analysis. So remember, we want to have some kind of transition to let our reader know that now we're going to be talking. So I'm going to say it's important to realize that if, now this is me explaining how this relates back to driving, because I didn't talk about driving in my quote, but I have to relate it back to that. So it's important to realize that if it takes a long time for an elderly person to recover from a fall, it will take even longer and be more challenging to recover from a car crash. So I'm relating it now back to my topic, back to my thesis statement and my overall claim that elderly people should retake that test. Okay, so again, this one took a little bit more effort. This one took a little bit more thinking. We've got some sentences on here, but now all that I have right here on these slides and this outline, that's my paragraph. It's done. Okay, I just need to translate that onto my Google Doc. Okay, so now it's your turn. Follow this outline, follow your TICA video, and go ahead and write your 2 body paragraph outlines. Okay, you guys got this. Good luck.